First, we're strong believers that your delegation is your vote.
Designing for our actual user. How are they going to use this?
Well, not only have we shown we can do it, but we're going to show that we can do it again and again and again.
We've done Shelley, we're doing Gogen, we're doing a bit of Voltaire with the voting, the catalyst voting coming up. Next on the list is Basho.
So what is that island? Well, that is what our scientists spent a huge amount of time building.
All right, welcome back everyone. My name is Pritesh here with Kaizen Crypto, bringing you another video. So I hope you guys are all doing well. Thank you all so much for joining me here today in this video, talking about some of the highlights of the IOHK November update video. Lots of exciting things that were discussed in that update video, talking about where we are currently with the release of Gogen and also what we can expect moving forward. So to get things started, what I wanted to do is go ahead and play some of the highlights from this update video. Essentially what I did was I took an hour-and-a-half long product update and I condensed it down into about 10 or 15 minutes to hopefully provide as much value as possible. I'm also going to be sharing with you guys some of my thoughts and how a lot of these updates are going to be beneficial to developers. So before we get started, I did just want to say if you guys do enjoy this type of content and if you do find some value from this video, please be sure to drop a like for me. Also, if you're new to the channel, do consider subscribing and hit that notification bell so you know exactly when I post a new video. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and jump right in.
Perhaps we'll start off with the subject of delegation. Now, we announced recently a change to our delegation strategy. I caught up with a few of the team, so let's go to that clip now.
One of the key topics that IOHK had noted was their new delegation strategy. So with this delegation strategy, they're essentially going to be retiring all of their stake pools except for one. With this delegation that they have, they're going to help decentralize the Cardano ecosystem by delegating to community stake pools. In terms of the criteria they'd be looking for to delegate to one of these pools, they're looking for stake pools that are mission-oriented. So some of these might have some type of philanthropic goals. Others would be located within a specific geographic region. So just trying to help bolster the decentralization of the Cardano ecosystem, I think this is a great initiative by IOHK.
First, we're strong believers that your delegation is your vote. It's an important way to shape the platform and ecosystem. So with our delegation program, we're looking to go a bit beyond our role just as a developer of the platform, guaranteeing the stability and security of the platform, and supporting a plurality of ideas, and to advocate for a specific type of system, and specifically one that focuses on a message of personal responsibility, decentralization, and geographic diversity. And while our goals and priorities will change over time, we felt with a change of the system parameters to K equals 500, this was the right time to embark on a program to encourage the largest number of truly independent stake pool operators. And so the first part of our delegation program will be looking to go out and engage and support operators that we think are supporting those values. And one of those is we think pools with a high amount of pledge and who are not looking to maximize the leverage are going to be an important aspect of the initial choice of selections. And we also recognize that there are pools that come from economies where maybe they do not have enough money for the pledge. And so we're also looking at purpose pools and specifically to make sure that pools are not lost from the list of delegation candidates, and we give them the focus and attention that they need as well.
Okay, and so 10th of December, applications open. We'll sort of close applications just before the end of the year. We'll review those. So the first stake pools, whether they're a purpose-driven pool or an incubator-based pool, will be receiving their first data delegations, hopefully by the end of January, that kind of time frame. So look, I mean, if you are an SPO and you're watching this at the moment, do keep an eye out on our social media and our Twitter, and I'm sure Ben will send that link out on the 10th, which of course is Ada Lovelace's birthday, if you haven't picked up on that already. So keep an eye out for that then. Thanks very much, everybody, for joining. So let's move on. Let's talk Gogen. Apana. Now, lots of updates on this show around Gogen, and I think you caught up with Vuk to take us through a few of the highlights.
I did. So we're going to talk to you about native tokens all the way through a new DevNet initiative that we have. So let's roll that clip.
In the next part of the presentation, they went on to talk about some of the basic terminology in regards to Gogen. So what we can see on the screen here, they've got definitions for things like tokens, assets, token bundles, native tokens, essentially just to go over some of these with you. So a token is going to be a physical representation of value on the Cardano blockchain. What's going to be very interesting to see are going to be when we do have native tokens, how it would be different to something like with Ethereum. You have a token that's built on Ethereum, it's actually going to be used within a smart contract on the protocol. What's different about Cardano is that we're actually going to have native assets. These tokens are actually going to live on the Cardano blockchain. So very interesting to see that. And then in regards to token bundles, with these native tokens, when you send a transaction, a lot of time that transaction may contain more than just one token. So a token bundle is going to be in reference to that, where there's a transaction being sent that contains more than one token. Another thing that they referenced were some examples of these tokens. So taking a look at security tokens or asset tokens, things like stable coins, going to be very, very big, especially as we move towards things like DeFi. DeFi is going to be a very big use case that we're going to see as soon as smart contracts are available for Cardano. And also taking a look at things like non-fungible tokens or NFTs. Now, who are going to be these native token users? So in regards to these devnets that they have implemented, essentially a native token user within this pre-production phase is going to be able to build their tokens using the command line interface. This is going to be for experienced users, for people who are familiar with command lines, for people who are ready to start building within this trial period. As we move forward, pretty much anybody is going to be able to issue their own tokens. And this is going to be especially useful for businesses, startups, app developers. And then as we move forward in time, as the user experience gets more refined, pretty much anybody will be able to create their own native tokens. So taking a look at this next part of the presentation, they've went ahead and compared ADA to that of native tokens. They've got listed here some of the different features of each. I would say one of the main differences that we can see from this diagram is that ADA cannot be minted. So the supply and the tokenomics of the ADA token have already been set at the time of the inception of the Cardano blockchain, as opposed to native tokens. When somebody issues a native token on the Cardano blockchain, they're actually going to be able to create a set monetary policy of said token. So that's probably going to be one of the biggest differences. Another thing we can see here is that ADA is actually going to be able to pay the fees and receive rewards of the Cardano blockchain, as opposed to native tokens. So how I like to think about it is, if you look at something like Ethereum, when you sign a transaction on the Ethereum blockchain, you're actually paying the gas fees in Ethereum. So the same concept would apply. It's very similar in that ADA would be used almost as a form of gas to pay for those transaction fees. Also, if you're receiving rewards from staking, those rewards are going to be paid to you within ADA. Now, in the next part of the presentation, they're talking about this pre-production environment. So when is this actually going to be available for developers to actually start testing? So this is planned for the week of December 7th, so this is coming up very soon. Essentially, this is going to allow developers to start building and start experimenting with some of these different things, where they're able to set a defined monetary script, they can mint and burn tokens, and they can send tokens in a transaction. So this is going to allow developers to get a taste for what it's actually going to look like when we do see this implementation on the mainnet. Now, Vuk did go ahead and show us a bit of a presentation of what this process actually looks like. Let's go ahead and take a look.
So this is just a small prototype of the token builder. It showcases how the token creation process is going to look like, and it's going to be part of the ERC20 converter. So it's enough for me to go to create token. I define the name of the token, for example, IOG token, then the symbol of the token, IOG, the amount of tokens that I want to mint, for example, 1,000, and the decimals that I want to have. In this particular case, I have a monetary policy that is predefined, but I can basically set up any monetary policy that I want. Now I cannot create a token because the network is not live, but basically by just clicking on create token, you'll be able to create a token as easy as that. We believe that the token creation is going to be as important as the conversion of tokens. But it's also important to keep the same user experience that we have for the token conversion.
Really cool to see what that process is actually going to look like when we can start to build native tokens on the Cardano blockchain. So the next part of the presentation, they go on to talk more about the K framework. They're also talking about IELE and the Glow programming language. Now, essentially with this, they've taken on the partnerships that they had in the past, and they've kind of resumed progress with these different frameworks. IELE is actually going to be an Ethereum virtual machine. They've partnered with runtime verification. Essentially with this Ethereum virtual machine, it's designed to help to address the security and code correctness of a lot of these decentralized applications. The other is the Glow framework. What this is going to do essentially is provide a toolkit to developers so that there's actually going to be a bunch of resources available for those who are willing to write these smart contracts. Really cool. I know it's pretty technical, but I think that a lot of the work that is being done is going to be done behind the scenes, and it's intended to provide developers with a much better user experience. So who are they going to be targeting with all these different frameworks? Essentially what they want to do first with these DevNets is they want to target Solidity and Ethereum developers. So people who currently have experience with blockchain development and decentralized applications, they're wanting to cater to these people first because they do have relevant experience. They also want to use the Glow and the IELE communities to join the Cardano ecosystem. I mean, the people that are actually building these frameworks, why not have them take their skill and expertise from building the framework and actually apply that into the Cardano ecosystem? And then next, they also want to help target all developers. So if you think about the amount of experience and expertise of all of the different programming languages and all the different developers around the world, there's languages like Python, Java, JavaScript, C, C++. There's a whole bunch of different programming languages where if you can take the talent of a developer and being able to integrate that using one of these frameworks to be able to actually start using the experience that they currently have to start writing these smart contracts, I think that's really going to be a powerful thing in terms of onboarding developers to start building on the blockchain. So in summary, what has been completed with this Gogen release? Right now, we do actually see that metadata transactions are currently supported on the blockchain. This was actually the first step within this Gogen release. Next is going to be native tokens in this pre-production to mainnet. So people who are interested in creating their own native assets, now if you're familiar with the command line interface, you can actually start to build these native tokens and have them port over when we do see Gogen on the mainnet. The ERC20 token converter is also in production, and we're seeing tremendous progress with that as well. Next, we're going to see a token locking hard fork combinator event. What this is going to do, essentially, this hard fork combinator event, we're actually going to be taking a look at a clip in more detail to go into that. But this hard fork combinator event is the second step with this phased rollout release for Gogen, essentially allowing for token locking. This is another key element of smart contracts and decentralized applications, as well as what we're seeing now with Project Catalyst and voting. We also see the KEVM, IELE, and Glow interoperability program taking shape to provide these developers the resources to start using their pre-existing skills and being able to write these smart contracts on Cardano. And they're going to be keeping us up to date with the tremendous amount of partnerships that they have coming up in the future as well. So incredible to see the progress being made in terms of the tools that will become available for a lot of these developers. So in the next part of the presentation, they went on to talk more about this hard fork combinator event. This is something that's going to take place here in the month of December. Let's go ahead and take a look at this next part of the presentation.
So now kind of pivoting to an event that's happening in December, the hard fork combinator event, and this is for token locking. And we're bringing back our favorite guy, Kevin, and Tim, you caught up with him to give us the deets on that.
So, Kevin, welcome back on the show. We've got another hard fork combinator event coming up, haven't we? What's happening?
Yeah, well, hey, in some sense, not very much, Tim, because just like the Byron Shea transition, it's going to go very, very smoothly. We promise. We've been working very, very hard behind the scenes, developing and deploying the fantastic hard fork combinator event to make sure that the process is as easy and smooth as possible. for the stake pool operators, for the Cardano network, and for the regular ADA holders, of course. This is a really big deal because we've done the hard fork once live on Cardano and we've shown we can do it. What we're now doing is to get to a stage where not only have we shown we can do it, but we're going to show that we can do it again and again and again.
So just to be clear, the word hard fork often fills people with dread and fear because generally hard forks are not a good thing. But the whole point is here, we've created technology that allows us to fork the network with minimal disruption to everybody. That's basically it, isn't it?
That's basically it.
So let's maybe just dig a little bit into token locking itself. Now, we're talking elsewhere in the show about metadata, which was really the first piece of sort of non-transactional utility, which we've deployed on Cardano. This is the next bit, isn't it? Token locking. What does token locking do, and how will it bring kind of new use cases?
So fundamentally, what we're doing with token locking, Tim, is to put a hold on a specific token for a period of time. So what we've got is a form of time locking where a record is made that a particular token is being held for some purpose. So this doesn't prevent you from staking the token. It doesn't prevent you from disposing the token if you wish. But what it does mean is that if the token isn't held by the user for a period of time, then that fact becomes known, and you can use this then to trigger conditional contracts of various kinds.
So it's a kind of a fundamental building block for smart contracts of all types, and I guess ultimately sort of non-fungible tokens as well, and that kind of thing.
That's right. It's a key piece of core technology for all kinds of smart contracts.
Fantastic, Kevin. Thanks very much for joining us.
Great. Bye, Tim.
We've got the hard fork combinator event coming up with the token locking. We've got our pre-production environments. Lots happening all during the course of this month. And we've got another show on the 17th as well. So do tune in for that. We'll have some more news, some more updates. A couple of things just to highlight. We'll have a bit of an update on Africa. Lots of conversations, lots of questions out there around Africa. So we've sat down with John O'Connor, our head of African operations, just to give us a bit more of a strategic overview of what the last year in Africa has brought and what we can kind of expect into 2021 as well. So tune in for that next show. And secondly, we don't stop here. We've done Shelley, we're doing Gogen, we're doing a bit of Voltaire with the voting and the catalyst voting coming up. Next on the list is Basho. So we'll also have an update on Hydra and where things are going as we're starting to move out of the conceptual phase into the development phase. I think that's about it for today, isn't it, Aparna?
It sure is. Great to see everybody. Thank you. And tune in next time.
Thanks, everybody.
So lots of amazing updates and developments coming from IOHK. Cardano is firing on all cylinders. So really excited to see all the tools, all the development updates that are happening. It's really crazy to think about. Here we are at December, the end of 2020. And it's just incredible to see where the project is heading going into 2021. So guys, that is what I have for y'all here today. I really do hope that you enjoyed it. Again, please be sure to hit that like button for me if you did find some value from this video. Go ahead and let me know what are you most excited about down in the comment section below. All right, everyone, thank you all again so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.